You might not think that a few simple words could make you crave McDonald's breakfast sandwiches. But if you listen closely to the sound of me saying McGriddles, McMuffin, you might be wrong. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Check out the Weedsman Podcast, Tuesdays and Fridays on iTunes and ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media, let's make some noise.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Christopher Media, let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan, it's Unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
Is this 1, 2, 3?
What is it now?
I think, yeah. 123.
Nice.
Holy shit. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Jake.
Rich.
Motherfucker.
He's
Don't know where he
MIA.
is.
He'll turn
Told him to
up.
call in. Hopefully he'll be joining us.
And Rory's here.
Rory.
Yeah.
Forget about Rory.
Back.
The cat is back.
Cat came back. Was not the very next day, though.
Well, yeah, like 3 weeks later. More than that. Fucking thing. And she didn't come back. I had to find her. I had to track her down. I was
Yeah,
like,
let's just get right into this, because how did you even, because...
Right, okay, so...
This is secondhand cat.
Regular listeners will already have heard my stories about the cat running away. But about 3 weeks ago, a little over that, on the 2nd, actually, and what is it today, the 26th? She ran away, somehow got out, I think climbed through a hole in the screen in the back door, and haven't seen hide or hair from her since. Looked around, checked out, called animal shelters, called vets, checked out Craigslist has listings for lost and found and for pets that people put up there. There's Facebook pages where people post pictures of lost and found pets.
Better be careful on Craigslist if you say you're looking for black pussy.
Right.
Anyway.
And so I had basically given up. I was like, she's either something horrible has happened to her or somebody has taken her in and was like, this is a nice fucking cat and I'm going to keep her because she is a good fucking cat. So then I get a call from my ex-wife. So here's the chain. Like, this cat came from a friend of my ex-wife. And it turns out that actually that woman had got the cat from somebody else, her friend. I didn't even know that she originated from... We got Rory when she was like still a kitten, which couldn't have been, 6 months maybe at the most, maybe less?
Well, no, I remember she was 10 weeks old, apparently.
Was it 10 weeks? She seemed bigger than that, but she was a scrawny little cat.
Like, she was tiny.
Yeah. So, yeah, she went through a couple owners pretty quickly. Well, anyway, the reason that X is calling me is because Rory's chip has been scanned, and the original owner that she was registered to was contacted. Well, I had no fucking idea that there was even a chip in the cat.
Oh.
Right? No one had mentioned it. I had conversation with the woman that I took the cat from, and we talked about the shots and all that stuff, and how thankfully she wasn't declawed, because I fucking hate that shit. And, there's no mention of a microchip. I don't even know if she knew. But I guess this is pretty common practice around animal shelters these days. They chip the animals, especially the ones that they, of course, not the ones they destroy.
Yeah, when I got my
the ones
cat
they find homes
neutered,
for.
I had a chip put in him. It was
Right.
part of it was like, hey, $20 to throw this chip in there. Fuck yeah, throw that in there.
If you look at animal shelters as like a business, that's kind of a cost prevention thing, because you're making sure that this animal doesn't end up at another shelter or back at your shelter, and you waste all this manpower posting stuff and trying to find the owner and all that.
So did I miss the story? The original owner was contacted, right? And she contacted you?
Right. No, she Okay, so this is...
How was the chip scanned? Was she picked up by the animal shelter?
Well, here's what I hear. Okay, get this. So the original owner on Saturday is contacted. We're recording this on Wednesday, right? On Saturday, she's contacted. We found your cat out in Jefferson by Masonic. Right down the street from fucking us. And she's like, oh, really? Wow, I don't even own that cat anymore, right? Doesn't think anything else of it and deletes the number. Who deletes numbers from their phone anyway, but just actively like, fuck that. I don't want anything to do with that cat. Delete that number. Mentions it offhand to her friend that she gave the cat to. And then the friend then calls my ex and was like, is Rory lost? And she's like, yeah. So then she contacts me, hey, the cat's been found. Okay, I need some contact info, right? So I got to go back down the chain. Like, how do I get my cat? All I know is there's a chip. It's been scanned. It's been identified to this woman in Taylor, and she was contacted, and that's it. And I have no contact info for her. Well, there was a number that was left of the person who found it, and that was the number that was deleted. The person who found Rory was the one who contacted the original owner. I did get an extra piece of information that there were flyers supposedly that were put up, right? So I'm driving all the way up and down. Jefferson and St. Clair Shores. That's like, what, 5 miles worth of fucking Jefferson?
Yeah, right.
At least. So I'm just up and down. I'd left work early. I'm just driving up and down Jefferson, go up and down Mac a little bit, weave through the neighborhoods. I see some signs. I get out. I'm looking. It's not my cat. And finally, I'm like, well, I don't know why this didn't occur to me earlier, but she was scanned, and sometime recently, apparently, well, that would have happened either at a veterinary clinic or an animal shelter.
Right.
So then I go home, start calling the shelters and the vets. Third one I call, said, yeah, we did have a report. We got a woman who left a number here, found a cat that fits your description. So I'll immediately call the woman. She doesn't answer. No voicemail set up. I call her again. She's like, and the call interrupts after 1.5 rings. And the person's like, fuck you. Why are you calling me again?
Right.
And then did put up a little bit of a fight just to make sure that I was actually the owner. Cause I was
for her.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And tried to trick me. She was like, where'd you lose them? And I was like, gave her my general location. I was like, and it's a female. And she's like, yeah, I was trying to see if this was your cat.
Yeah.
I fucking sent her a picture. And I was like, she usually meows a lot. And she's like, oh yeah, this is your cat. So
what?
Anyway.
You had to go chasing down flyers, or
that I was trying to, because that was the only piece of information that I had of possibly contacting the person that found Rory. And then I thought to call around and see who actually scanned her.
So wait, this woman kept the cat? She didn't just take it back from the? Well, she didn't leave it at the vet.
I go. No, she did.
Awesome.
She did take it to the vet.
She took her to the vet, but she took her home too.
I went to her. I eventually got a hold of her. I'm texting her, right, and she said, "I'll be home in 20 minutes. You can come pick the cat up." So I go over to her place, and she's like, "Yeah, just saw Rory walking across Jefferson." Which, I mean, this is one of the more mild stretches of Jefferson. It's 35 maybe max, but still, it's a pretty busy road. Mm-hmm. And she's fucking darting across the street and then runs into this lady's backyard. And I guess she's got dogs. She's got 3 dogs, and they were probably back there too. And Rory's all freaked out, and she scoops Rory up because it's a pretty docile cat.
Yeah.
And takes her to the vet. The vet, just by standard, they'd take the little RF gun and see if she's got a chip in her.
Right.
So that's how the information eventually got triggered. If that never happened, I would have never had the information to even think to look again.
Right.
I have, it was she's, wherever she is, she's probably going to stay there, whether it's in the, whether it's, I was going to say in the ground, but people don't even bury cats. What do you do with the cat that you find? Probably throw it in the incinerator, chuck it in the garbage truck.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm not talking about you, Roy.
If I find a dead cat,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had one in front of my house. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah. So anyway, she was like, yeah, all my dogs are chipped, and
do you re-register her chip into your name?
That's what I'm trying to get in touch with the original owner so that everything can be transferred. It has to be initiated by the original owner.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, but this isn't going to happen again either, is it, Rory? So 3 weeks, and now I'm total. It's not like I haven't thought about it in the last 3 weeks, but now I'm totally trying to piece together, what was she doing the whole time?
Yeah.
This whole little adventure.
That's what I'm thinking. If she could talk, I would be like, "Where you been? What'd you do?"
Well, I mean,
were you hanging out at the lake?
She's an all black cat. She's still got her claws. She's fast. She likes to fight, at least play fight with us. I mean, I imagine she could track down a mouse or two or something out there.
She's healthy. Look at her. She's
totally healthy.
And her fur's not even matted or anything like that. No. So she was taken care of while she was gone. That's obvious.
And it was great weather.
Yeah, right.
I mean, part of me is right on, Probably a cool vacation. I'm jealous. I wish I could just go off for 3 weeks and just fucking do nothing. And
shit.
Yeah, if you're gonna pick a month to do that, August. Good month.
So Rory's back. and she's not getting out again. And I'll find you, Rory. She's sitting over there on the couch in the usual spot. She came home. She was freaked out for like maybe about 5 minutes, where she was running up. She like ran downstairs and just wanted to hide out. I was like, well, she's probably freaked out. She'll adjust eventually. 5 minutes later, she's jumping up on the couch next to me, wanting her belly rubbed.
Like, oh, I'm home. Yeah.
And then 5 minutes after that, it's like, fuck off. I'm doing my own thing.
Fucking
So
cats.
she just slid right back into place.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm glad for you, man. That
Yeah.
that fills
Yeah,
that hole in
that's
your heart
great,
that you had
'cause
there for a minute. That sucks.
I've lost pets as to death.
Right.
But this was like the first pet. Well, technically you're a cat, but I mean, it's the first pet where that's ever run away.
Yeah.
I was telling Mandy, like, this never happened before. This
Right.
blows. This sucks.
It does. And even though you totally know that you're really anthropomorphizing the animal, it's hard not to take it personally.
Yeah. It's like, what? It's not good enough here for you?
Right.
Dead leaf?
No, honestly, like I found myself thinking shit like that. But anyway,
Do you need better food?
right.
Colder water? No, that news made my day today. And two, I'm sitting there thinking today, like, I am way too excited as a 36-year-old man about the return of a cat.
Nah,
Oh,
man.
whatever,
That's
man.
awesome.
She's a caring animal. She's part of the family over here.
Yeah, for sure. Scratches the fuck out of my legs almost every time I'm here.
She probably definitely needs her nails trimmed.
Whatever.
I got to get to that.
I didn't-
I got to do it like once a week now.
She got a scratching pose?
Although I'd be lying if I said it wasn't nice to get a little peace and quiet and not have to open my door every half an hour.
But you missed it. Admit it.
I did.
Why am I resting so well?
Hey, another cool thing that happened to me real quick. There was a podcast that I listened to a lot. I've listened to it pretty religiously. Actually, ever since I really got into the podcast medium, that's where I started with, because it's a podcast about comic books, and I was getting back into comic books at the time too, and it's called Wait What Podcast, and I probably mentioned it to you guys before. Mm-hmm. British dude.
NPR, right?
No, they're just totally independent.
Oh,
they're like funded through
okay.
Patreon, and they just do like every other week they put out a like 2-hour long podcast, and it's kind of about comics, but it strays into all different types of things too. They're really they're good writers. They're both writers, and they're really articulate and really funny as well. And they started doing this podcast called The Baxter Building, where they're doing a reread of the Fantastic Four run starting from the beginning. And I've been reading along with it as I'm listening to the podcast too, and really enjoying that. And they don't have an outro for their Baxter Building podcast, and they made kind of an offhand comment like months ago of a possible listener taking their voices and making a track for it. And I was like, so I took them seriously, and I made the track, and I sent it to them, and they freaked out, and they're going to use it as their outro now for their podcast.
What? Really?
Yeah.
That's badass.
Nice.
Right. And and it's just like, I mean, it's
Is
a
that-
ridiculous song. I think I played some of it for you. It's
The Fantastic Four track?
yeah, and it's just them like, "Yeah, Fantastic Four," and I used samples from the Thundar the Barbarian cartoon, the intro from it, because that was actually created by, or at least the character design was done by Jack Kirby, who was one of the original creators of the Fantastic Four and many other Marvel properties.
We'll have to get him on the show.
Yeah.
We got to in.
Absolutely.
The guy who made their outro.
So
Badass.
I'm super geeked to just to be able to like hear that come up. I'm just gonna get totally like half of a wood,
No, you're probably going to get full wood.
maybe.
No, that's great, man. Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. And speaking of podcasts, we're going to do some shameless self-promotion here. Beer Nuts. If you guys remember, we had on JR from MichiganBeerGuy.com.
I do, and he brought some really tasty brew with him too.
Yeah.
And
well,
he was like super well informed about beer in general too. He was actually like,
well, it's the man's craft. It's
Right.
what he does.
well, because Chris, I think going into the conversation, we were both like, this is going to be cool, but we're not like really knowledgeable about beer. It's like we got our brands that we like, and we've probably stuck with them for the last decade at least. Mm-hmm. You know, we're not necessarily adventurous and like trying all different kinds of microbrews. Not that I'm opposed to it, but it's hard to, when you want beer, man, you just want what you want. You know,
Give me a fucking Labatt's. Don't foo-foo it all up.
Right,
I mean, like, good for you if that's what you're into.
but
That's
there's
fucking great.
so much good shit shit out there.
Yeah, it's too much.
And that's a problem, I think, now is having a filter. So now we talked to JR, and he's actually telling us, giving advice of what to look for. We had this long ass conversation about something that I know nothing about, was totally interested in. So I'm totally
awesome.
looking forward to this podcast.
Yeah, but we're gonna start. We're recording the first one this week. I'm only going to commit to saying September. It will be heard at some point in September, near the beginning of the month.
Right.
But we want to make sure we have everything good to go. We don't want to
Get our ducks in a row.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything half-ass. We want to whole-ass it, as it were. And but yeah, it's going to be called Beer Nuts. I think it's going to come out on Saturdays, just basically based on our schedules and
That's a
the
good
days
day
we
for it.
have left to edit.
Well, then you have
things.
Bead
But,
Beer.
if you
Beer
like
and
craft
weed.
beer, check it out. It's coming to the network. You could check out his blog, MichiganBeerGuy.com, and looking forward to it. He's going to bring us more free beer, so that's going to be cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll mix for beer.
That's Sunday at 7?
No, I can't. Just piggybacking on what Aaron says. If you also listen to the Weedsman here on the network, I mean, this guy is as versed in craft beer as we are in weed. I mean, let's be honest here. If you really think about it, we've become in the last year, weed snobs, so to speak, or weed sommeliers even.
Yeah. Starting to show.
At this point, all the stuff that you always hear when people says it has a diesel or a fruity taste or what, we could totally pick up on that shit now. Even when stuff doesn't have a name. When the mystery strains come over, I mean, we can still tell, oh yeah, this has got berry in it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the band is well versed in his craft and looking forward to it.
I got somebody I'll hit up for a guest if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I got a good friend of mine that's he brews the beer for the Great Baraboo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he is freaking fantastic. I know he's worked with Woodward Avenue Brewing as well, helping them brew.
The Wob.
The Wob, yeah.
Dude, I love both those.
Yeah, he had something to do with Atwater at one point too. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wob is what turned me on to the Hefeweizens. Love that shit.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, liking, and sharing Unregimented on Facebook and following Unregimented on Twitter at UnregimentedPod. If you like Unregimented, please tell a friend to visit ChristopherMedia.net. You can subscribe to Unregimented on iTunes for free just by clicking through the iTunes banner at ChristopherMedia.net. You can also show your support for Unregimented when you buy something on iTunes just by clicking through the iTunes banner at ChristopherMedia.net. It won't cost you anything extra, and it shows your support for Unregimented. While you're on iTunes, please remember to write a review and rate Unregimented 5 stars. Just click on the iTunes banner at ChristopherMedia.net. Android users can listen to Unregimented for free at ChristopherMedia.net by clicking on the Stitcher radio player on our homepage. You can also listen to Unregimented for free at TuneIn.com or by downloading their free TuneIn radio app. Don't forget, you can always listen to Unregimented for free across any platform just by going to ChristopherMedia.net. Make sure to check out all of the podcasts on ChristopherMedia.net. Mondays and Fridays, you have Unregimented. Reach us at UnregimentedPod on Twitter. Tuesdays and Fridays, you have the Weedsman Podcast. Find those guys at the Weedsman420 on Twitter. Wednesday, you have the Projection Booth, projection-booth.com, or at Pro Boothcast on Twitter. Saturday, you have the Captain's Table at Captain's Podcast on Twitter. You can also check out one of our new shows, new to us. It's the Ugly Club Podcast. It's another movie podcast, but these guys go with more of a theme each week rather than just one movie. You could check them out at Ugly Club Podcast on Twitter or uglyclubpodcast.com. If you like Unregimented and want to show your support for Unregimented, you can donate to Christopher Media by clicking through the PayPal button at ChristopherMedia.net. If you use Amazon.com, please click through the Amazon banner at ChristopherMedia.net and bookmark the link. It won't cost you anything extra, and when you buy something, you will show your support for Unregimented. If you're looking to launch your own website, please click through the HostGator banner at ChristopherMedia.net. That's who we use to host Unregimented. When you sign up for HostGator by clicking through the banner at ChristopherMedia.net, you are helping to support Unregimented.
Well, what about current events? What's going on out there?
I'm not talking about it.
No?
Hey, why don't you go back to Univision? All right.
Is this the serious? Is this the serious portion of
let's see.
Our podcast here?
Let's see what's interesting to you. Today we had speculation on Joe Biden running for president.
Whatever.
Yeah,
right?
and it's
which made me think oh great, now I'm going to have to actually learn something about him.
Well, the thing, you probably listened to the exact same thing I did on NPR today. Regarding Biden, actually maybe not. It was like 5 o'clock this morning. I actually didn't listen to any
any NPR today.
Okay.
But
it was yesterday.
yeah,
or
that's a
whatever.
rare day for me.
Yeah. So what they were saying was Biden's going to withhold until they see what happens with Hillary's email scandal. That's what they're speculating.
Which is going to be nothing.
And if you notice, well, yeah, right. They've already, like, I guess she's already been, like, relieved of all wrongdoing or whatever, I guess. I don't know. I haven't followed news today.
Yeah.
But, which would be Wednesday. But they're saying they don't think he'd be as strong of a candidate as Hillary. And they would be too afraid. They're talking about the fact that they might be too afraid to have him run because he would split Hillary's points.
Well, okay, so
And it's a little late to be saying you're running, but Obama also has not endorsed any candidates yet.
I don't know if it's that I've paid completely zero attention to him since he's been vice president, or just a complete lack of coverage, or maybe he really isn't doing shit. Sometimes they just don't.
No, he acted more like a senator than he did a vice president.
But I don't really know a lot about
Uncle
I don't
Joe?
know. I don't know his record for the last,
Uncle Joe, he's a
6
moderate.
years.
He's kind of been like Obama's Dan Quayle.
Right.
Yeah,
as
well,
far-
and Hillary are a lot alike.
Definitely somewhere Hillary snapped a pencil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably before she even heard the news, she just instinctively her hand clenched around it. And
Yeah. No, she's going to be the presidential candidate. I mean, that's straight
The
up.
quote, the
Really,
quote
because
though,
I was reading
from
stuff a couple weeks ago that was saying it's going to be Bernie Sanders. Which
Nope. He's too,
I was just like,
no.
yeah, no, it's not.
No,
It's-
he's not strong enough to
the-
go up against anybody in the GOP. He's not.
there was
Yeah, well, he doesn't have the money.
Right. That's what I mean. He's not strong enough. He's getting a lot of youth. A lot of the youth are really pushing more towards Bernie Sanders.
right, but he's kind of the kind of the liberal version of Trump.
Well, yeah, exactly. He's yeah.
I don't mean that as an insult.
No, I know
either.
what. No. I know.
In a way to
I'm sorry, dude, but Trump's the baddest ass motherfucker the GOP's got right now.
Well,
he really is.
I'm giving him
He's a
props
gimmick.
in the sense because he's really good at is focusing what his issues are and getting his point across, not with facts.
No, he's a businessman, dude. He
But
is straight up.
Since
business.
when does that affect anybody?
He's a billionaire. He
Pesky
doesn't-
facts.
He's a billionaire. He doesn't need facts. It's what he spews is what's fact. Kind of like me.
Like, did you guys pay attention to that whole the quote unquote controversy with him yesterday with his event in Iowa where he told the guy to go
the
back to
helicopter?
Univision?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the helicopter.
Yeah, I kind of told myself I would have a Trump-free week. So no.
Well, I don't know.
Hey, he
If
lost
you
$1
read
billion
about it,
yesterday.
I don't think that was the most offensive thing he said. Everyone's glomming onto that, or at least the media is.
What did he say that was offensive?
Well, that's the
time?
thing is he told the guy they were getting in a sparring match, and he told him to go back to Univision. Well, he works for Univision. I don't think that's offensive. The offensive shit, he was talking his shit about building the wall along the border and having a big door. He's talking about ending I forget the term for it, but talking about taking away if you're born here, that you're not automatically a citizen. Your parents have to be citizens too.
Yeah.
Like he said way more offensive shit to go back to Univision, but that's what the media glommed onto last night, which I think is fucking retarded.
Which he was really just telling him to go back to work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. He worked for if he didn't work for Univision, it would be super offensive.
Right.
You know?
He was telling him to go back to his office.
He didn't tell him to go back to the bean farm.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go back to Home Depot. No, he didn't say that.
Well,
Good PR for Univision.
speaking of Joe Biden, though, he did. There was a quote from him today that he said he just doesn't have the energy for another race in him. What?
No, he had some health problems.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I
had
figured
some,
he just
I
he
think
just
it was
wanted to.
heart problems. I think he had heart problems. So,
Not the fact he's just old.
well, yeah, but it's more. Hillary will trash him, man. He'll get trashed in the media. He's just going to get trashed. Where she's not fucking with Bernie, because Bernie right now, what she's doing with Bernie is she's paying attention. And she's seeing what sticks with the far left, because she already knows what sticks with the moderates. And she's going to start using that. You watch, when she starts hitting the fucking campaign trail for president, it's going to be everything that Bernie Sanders said is what she's going to be using.
Well,
Not everything, but all the good points, quote unquote, liberal good points. You know?
Right.
I don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm just saying.
I've got a good example of that, though, and this ties in with this tragic story that happened today. I mean, if you guys looked at your phone at any point today, you probably heard the story about the news reporter and cameraman that were shot.
I was waiting for this story to come
I
up.
did, but I don't know the details.
I saw
The
it,
details
too.
are strange.
I saw the video.
I saw the
Perspective video.
Yes. Okay, so early today, this is Wednesday, which most people have probably read about already, there was a shooting of a reporter and a cameraman, and actually the woman that she was interviewing
in Virginia
was injured as well. This happened this was in Moneta?
Yeah.
Moneta, Virginia.
It was a water park? Is that where they were at? I believe they're in a water
They're
park.
somewhere on like a coast somewhere. Well, as soon as they went live, like this guy walked up to him and was just kind of hanging out behind the cameraman. As soon as they went live, he pulled out a gun and shot the reporter and the cameraman.
Jesus.
And then fled. This guy, his name is Vester Lee Flanagan. This is a brother. It's not a brother's name, but Vester Lee Flanagan, that's his name. He had a different on-screen or on-air persona that I forget. But he was, I guess, an ex-employee of the network that the reporter and the cameraman worked for. So he has a GoPro with him or some equivalent. Maybe it was just off of his phone. He videos himself walking up. He at one point draws his weapon and points it at the reporter, and nobody notices because nobody's turning to look at him.
He thought about it.
He thought about it, and then
totally thought about it.
But the cameraman was getting some shots of the water. Probably getting some setup shots.
He was
or whatever
panning
you call
around
it.
to her,
right?
Yeah.
And then they were going to go on the air, and as soon as he turned and put the focus on the reporter and her subject, that's when the guy started firing on him. And there's not a whole lot to see after that because it goes black. But
Jesus Christ.
The guy takes off. He, I guess he evaded the police even at one point. They picked him up again. He fled. At some point was able to upload the video onto his Facebook page. That's how it got out there. And then when he was driving away from the police, he shot himself in the head while he was driving, and then the car crashed. So, yeah, a messed up story, and I guess there's some backstory. The head of the network was on air saying that he was a problem employee, in so much as he was always angry about something, and he seemed to play the race card a lot when they could find no evidence. He had complaints against racism in the company, and they would investigate and get human resources involved, and nobody could find anything really there. And eventually they just fired the guy. But the reason that Hillary ties into this, because she's got to say something about it. It's a national tragedy that everybody's talking about it. You can't just go mute on it. So she takes this as an opportunity to vow, if she's put in power, to do something to curb gun violence.
It's coming. We've talked about it before. At this point, I think it's inevitable, unfortunately. Or it's gonna lead to just armed guards everywhere.
Well, she didn't talk specifically about mental health, which might have pertained to this tragedy in some way. Curbing gun violence, I see that more as maybe limiting the types of weapons that you sell, like AR-15s, which I'm going to get to that later, too.
You mean 22s?
No.
A 22? It's a 22.
What's a 22?
AR-15.
An AR-15?
It's a 223. Yep.
All right, we'll get to that. Hold that thought.
Yep.
No, this is, yes, this is gun violence, right? But what can you do to control this? I have no idea if this was a legally obtained firearm, but I would imagine it was. This is a guy who worked for the IT department in various networks. He wasn't a criminal, at least that anybody knew of. And while he seemed like maybe a rageaholic, nobody seems to have seen evidence of actual insanity. What's to prevent this guy from having a gun anyway? I mean, it's a tragedy. He was, something flipped in this guy, obviously, but guns don't have anything to do with that. I mean, that just happens to be what was easiest for him to express himself in the way that he felt he had to, apparently.
I just think we're heading down the slippery slope of it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be just super strict gun control, or we're going to have armed guards and metal detectors at everything now.
All for your safety.
Yeah, probably a little bit of both.
There's going to be a fucking, a metal detector at the fucking hotels I check into. There's going to,
right.
It's going to be a metal detector at the fucking supermarket.
I think you're looking at if it's kind of going to lean one way or the other depending on who is holding office next. because Hillary would be more likely to actually do something about controlling the way guns are distributed in this country in some fashion, restricting access to guns, right? Whereas the conservatives, they're much more about, well, let's think about what a screening process would be like. This is not only an opportunity to catch people, with arms that might want to do something crazy with them, but now you can also catch people, with drugs, smuggling other type of contraband, or just fuck with people in general. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more that you can tack onto that. Either way, it's kind of a scary thought because I'm more for, so another thing that came up was Walmart, saying that not in response to this tragedy or any specific thing that has happened, but what they claim is simply market forces, that they are going to stop selling certain weapons, one of them being the AR-15 and other, what they refer to as MSRs. You know this term?
Yeah, it's a military spec rifle.
Oh, they listed it as modern sporting rifle.
Oh.
But yeah, claiming that this is not from pressure from recent tragedies, but just the fact that there's a lack of demand for AR-15s and other weapons like that.
Yeah, okay.
I find it really hard to believe that there's a lack of demand.
There's a bridge here in Brooklyn that I'll sell to them if they want us to buy that.
Right. If that's the case, I think Walmart's the only business, the only store that is experiencing such lack of demand for weapons.
Or a modular sniper rifle is another term.
I don't know. It's just how I feel. I think we should be able to have them, but at the same time,
let me give this as an example.
It's getting hard to ignore that fucking. It's
been here forever.
Let me tell you.
It seems like it's every week, Jay.
It is every week, but it's always been every week. It's every day, everywhere.
I'll tell you a story that I'll use as an example. And Jay, I hope that you'll tell me where you feel I'm incorrect. So recently, there was a story that was popping up on a lot of the comic book websites too, because it was somewhat nerd related. But this was what they fear was a potential tragedy that was avoided. So at a Pokemon tournament, the Pokemon World Championship.
I did hear about this.
Right. Two guys, one of them 18, Kevin Norton, James Stumbo is 27. They start, the nerds, they do a lot of shit talking, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But theirs seem to get somewhat violent and rather specific.
Right.
And there were frightening threats that were made online. Well, I guess enough for them to get a search warrant, right? They actually had a warrant to search. When they searched the apartment of James Stumbo, they found a shotgun and an AR-15 that they feared were going to be used to actually execute some of the threats that they were making online at this Pokemon tournament. So, crazy people who want to do harm to others, there's not a whole lot you can do to control that. And if you do want to control that, we're talking addressing mental health issues and the way that we handle, preventative measures, specifically in medicine in general, but specifically on mental health. The gun control of it, the gun control side of it, to me, is restricting access to this person who wants an AR-15. What does he need an AR-15 for? Now, you had mentioned that...
What if I want to go deer hunting?
Right. I mean, I've known a lot of hunters and hunted myself, and I don't know any of them that have used an automatic weapon like that.
Well, it's not automatic.
Okay, so...
Semi-automatic.
Okay. Well,
and you can still only have 5 rounds if you're hunting.
The difference being, fully automatic is hold the trigger down, constant fire.
Yeah.
Right. And this is squeeze, don't have to cock it or...
Right.
Or...
Yeah, it's not bolt action.
Right.
Or lever action or whatever.
What
does somebody need that for?
Yeah.
What's your business? I mean, really.
Yeah.
That's my hobby. I like hot rods, or I like guns, or I like computers. You buy the fucking coolest ass computer you can buy. You buy the coolest ass fucking car you can buy. If I want to buy the coolest fucking rifle, or if I'm, fuck yeah.
Well, what if I know I'm dreaming now, but what if the government was actually able to put together a cohesive oversight program that wasn't restrictive to people who actually wanted these weapons for genuine purposes that you describe? Mm-hmm. And are you opposed to that idea? It just filtering it out some, so not just anybody can go to a Walmart and purchase this.
I see what you're saying.
It's more of a boutique item, right?
Yeah,
you don't go and fucking buy a Rolex at Walmart either.
Right, exactly.
have a certain. It's a different market.
I'm cool with the licensing and the registration of all firearms. I really am, because you don't have to register an AR-15.
But I guess a big portion of what my imaginary proposal would be a lot of background check.
Well, that's the thing.
What are you really going to be? Are you a sportsman? Are you a collector?
Every day, every gun would if every gun was a 7-day background check and the government actually did a good background check, it's still not going to matter. You're still going to have the same amount of shit. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It's not going to matter until people are really educated more and more. This guy was like fucking. He had all these problems. Obviously, he's talking about screaming racism and shit. Well, that's ding ding ding. That's a mental problem if it's not really going on. He's delusional.
Right. The man who shot the reporter.
Right. Should it be a company's responsibility to report that to the authorities so that the guy can be examined?
Oh boy.
But this is what I'm saying. It would have to go there. But it would have to go there. There's no other way.
And the backlog would be so incredible you'd never get through all the crazies.
That's the thing but that's the way to do it. I mean, that's really the only way to do it is like every action you make or every fucking threat you make is considered a psychological, you fucked up, you have a gun, you fucked up, you're fucking getting checked.
Right.
Like, not every employee, but if they don't have a gun, I mean, maybe they should report all that shit so that way it goes into some kind of national registry, and then it's like it limits the fucking,
now you're creating Giant Brother, though. I mean, there's another side of that.
How else do you do it, man? Because
Big Brother, you're creating mega conglomerate brother.
But how else do you do it? I'm a law-abiding citizen. But let's say I'm a law-abiding citizen. Let's say somebody we know, because I'm not going to say me because it could be misconstrued. If somebody we knew was a law-abiding citizen their entire fucking life, they bought firearms and shit, and then one day, pop, we don't understand it. Like, this dude was totally fine, and now all of a sudden, pop, he went crazy. Somebody pushed him over the edge, and he fucking blew him away. Mm-hmm. Like that. How do you stop that from happening? And here's the other thing: you can't take all the guns away. There's no way you're going to get the guns all the way. It's like saying making weed illegal or fucking.
But what about maybe if you're a registered gun owner, you have to have a yearly psychiatric evaluation?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that's why this issue is so hard to tackle, because no matter how you come at it, you're impinging on somebody's freedom.
Exactly.
Somewhere. And I'm not saying that everybody's freedoms are boundless. There is a point where they rub up against the rest of society and they have to be rolled back a little bit. But where you draw those lines, you have to be very careful how you do so, because you have to extrapolate. Every law, you have to extrapolate for every possibility, and not just how you envision it, but how any idiot could envision it. Yeah. How the next president in power is going to interpret the laws that were made by the current one.
It's not going to happen. She can say it all she wants. It's not going to happen because the fucking Republicans are going to be like, nope.
Right.
And they're Congress right now.
But from a human side of it, the reason it's so effective with people and the reason politicians have to address it and feel like they have to calm the nation on issues like this, because the randomness, you don't have control over it. It could happen anywhere, right?
Right.
You can decide not to go to whatever local ghetto you have in your neighborhood. You can not go to the other side of the tracks. You can choose not to deal with certain people or put yourself in dangerous situations, or even not drive on the freeway. But this randomness of any guy could walk in with a weapon anywhere and start mowing people down just because he had a horrible day.
You could walk out to get your fucking mail and somebody could drive the car up your grass and hit you and kill you.
Right.
I mean, it's...
A meteor could fucking take your house out.
It's,
like you saw Donnie Darko. Fucking like it's random shit happens. You just it's not even the government's place to say it, but I wish politicians at some point would just say, look, you can't control everything, all random events in the universe, and you can't live your life like that's something that's possible.
Right.
You have to just go on with your day and get on the fucking freeway and realize.
You take everybody's fucking guns away, right? They're all gone. All the guns are gone. All the ammunition's gone. We have no access to any type of firearms whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're going to get stuck with a fucking broken broomstick or a fucking shank or something like that, or a fucking pocket knife, or
Someone will just make a gun.
When Hillary vows to do something about gun violence, I took it as seriously as if she said like she's going to eradicate mosquitoes from the world, or fucking no more ice cream headaches.
We're going to end racism.
Right,
Hillary.
right. It's
Like-
not. No. Just shut up about it. Like fucking start. Like you need to go a
And-
different direction.
yes.
Don't like.
And you're also going to eradicate terrorism from the planet
Yeah.
because that's a thing that you
Oh,
can
and
do.
drugs too.
And hate.
And drugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drugs and hate.
Drugs. War on drugs. Well,
No one will ever have any bad feelings ever again.
No, it'll be good. So there's no coffee. So what are they going to do when there's no coffee? Because that's a drug. Caffeine's a drug.
Well, if there's no coffee, you better hope there's no guns.
Maybe that's the whole fucking thing. Yeah. No, I don't know. It's pushing it too far, man. You know, it's just, it's, I agree. It fucking blows. Should it happen? No, it shouldn't happen, you know, but neither should Down syndrome.
But
I mean,
Dave, if I heard you right, though, you're also saying that regardless of who our next president is, it's not going to change. In your opinion, it's nothing major. There might be some, we've made lots of laws to restrict access that are just kind of, people find loopholes around them.
Yeah.
People just
I have
outright ignore them.
I have a concealed pistol license,
Or,
right?
like
and, CPL, I got a concealed pistol license. Just go renew it every 5 years. And you know what? I don't have a 7-day background check. I walk in, buy a gun, walk out. Doesn't matter what gun, any gun. I mean, is that wrong for me to be able to do that? Well, no, because I went through class. I should have gone through a
Right.
psychiatric evaluation. Should have done that. That should have happened, which I didn't like. That doesn't happen. And you gotta shoot in a range. You gotta be able to fucking qualify.
Yeah.
So
if you want something done about it, just enforce the laws that you already have.
right.
Well, because it's
that's the thing is, I mean,
the whole thing is about oversight. It's not, you can make all the laws you want.
It doesn't matter.
But you got to pay attention to what's actually getting funded properly.
Right.
Is it, is it something that a program that is barely funded, has no personnel, and, the backlog is so tremendous.
Exactly.
That there's no way that they could check anybody anyway. So they
Right.
might do, a random spot check of like, hey, we got to call somebody in for an interview this week to make it look like we're doing our job.
that's what it would happen.
Right.
It'd just be crazy.
Right. So that was.
So, and then let's take
And that's
it all
something
the
that
way.
the politicians can take to the NRA is like,
Yeah.
hey, we're going to put this law through. Don't worry. We're only putting like $500,000 into it. And
Yeah,
it's going to be fucking just
exactly,
for
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Just so we can, keep doing what we're doing.
Shit, NRA
you
you know
keep
what
the money
NRA is gonna
coming.
do?
We'll keep the legislation going your way.
I'm saying that NRA will be like, okay, here's a little bit of money to help you get that through, because
Right.
then gun sales are going to go up.
Yes.
Like people are going to get a little whiff of this, and all of a sudden gun sales go up. Obama's getting in office. All the AR-15s are sold out, and 22 long-range fucking bullets gone.
Yet another problem that would be cured by publicly funding elections. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
Publicly
Jay, you're
funded?
right. It's going to turn into
Yes.
they're coming for our
Taxpayer money.
guns.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
That's what's going to happen. And then
Yeah,
it's
well, didn't it happen already?
with Obama.
Yeah, with Obama, I forget what the thing was, but I forget exactly what he passed, but I remember that there was a rush on whatever he was banned or regulated.
Well,
there was a date that it was going to take effect. So until this date, just sales just spiked.
Oh yeah. Well, man, Obama fucking pulled a slick Rick trick, man. He freaking he made the last lead smelting facility in the United States close.
He made it close.
Yeah,
Why?
per EPA mandate, no more lead smelting is going to be done in the United States. Well, what does that do for bullets?
Oh, we're getting into the Chris Rock theory?
Right. Well,
Make
no,
the bullets cost $5,000?
That's what I'm saying, man. Is that happened and bullet prices went fucking double, like immediately. Jesus, is in oil. No, that's a slick Rick move there. Like, hey, I can't regulate. Really, I'm not fucking with guns. I'm not fucking with guns.
I'm just gonna fuck with the bullets.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck with the supply. The supply of what you need. Dirty prick.
Just I don't know, like it's weird. I don't my views just keep everything we hear about just keep going, man. Like I don't know.
Propaganda war. I'm telling you.
Well, especially too with the airports I'm in, with where I'm at all the time. I mean,
in your face.
I'm not gonna lie and say I've been looking over I'm not saying looking over my shoulder so much, but I'm definitely becoming a little more hyper aware of what's going on around.
Good, you should, man. You should be. Don't be a sheep. You don't want to be a sheep. You want to be a sheepdog. Fuck being a sheep.
What was shit? I don't know. I probably shouldn't even bring this up because I don't even know the full story. But maybe you guys know the rest of it. There was the couple guys in the armed forces of some division were in a public place where a gun was drawn. The guy was like.
It was a Air Force, and a National Guardsman and a European.
It's Train on France. Guy shows up with a Uzi?
Yeah, something like that.
And those motherfuckers took him down and whooped his ass.
3 guys, yeah. One was the Air Force, one was the National Guard, and I don't remember the nationality of the third guy, but I know he wasn't American.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, speaking of being aware.
That's you need hyper awareness. I mean.
But then again, those guys, too, they're trained.
Right.
You know, they're trained
absolutely.
for that shit.
Yeah, I know. And it's not like anybody can say, hey, if you see a gunman, produce a weapon in a public place and threaten people, charge at him.
I'm going to fuck their world up, dude. I might get shot doing it, but I'm coming at him. Fuck that. Fuck that.
Yeah. I guess I'd be interested to see what my reaction would be. It really depends on where my kids are.
Right.
That's the one thing. Like, I think shielding them would be my first instinct and trying to get them away from the area as much as possible. But if they weren't there, I could see myself...
tackle. That's my first instinct. I'm going to take a fucking bullet for some people here, but I'm going to your ass is mine. I'm going to do the best I can to fucking, least amount of casualties. That's...
And also,
I don't have kids. I would totally... You guys would fight, I would fight.
Kids or no kids, man. No.
I would get the fuck out of there.
And I'm referring to, like, the in the mind of somebody who's committing this act, that's probably the last thing they're expecting.
Mm-hmm.
They pull a weapon out in the middle of a bunch of civilians. Everyone's going to start spreading out and ducking. Right. They are not looking at somebody, coming after them.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know. I can't say for sure. I have no training of any sort that would,
I've been in enough,
that would kick in.
Yeah, I've been in enough situations where I know that's how I would react. Yeah, I know it.
But
not that I've tackled a gun.
I've had guns pointed at me too, and I was pretty cool. I didn't freak out or pee myself.
Nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah, right. You won.
Read the situation.
Yeah.
Better not turn your fucking back on me.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my shit back.
Memorize this face, motherfucker.
No, you're going to be eating the ground. Fucking turn your back on me. You're fucked.
Yeah, but to be fair, Jay, you're bigger than both of us.
Yeah. I just got an attitude. That's my.
You're bigger than most people.
It's my attitude.
So,
but I'm not
tall, motherfucker.
I'm just tall. I'm not big.
Yeah.
I was big.
Tall can be intimidating, man.
It is. It is. That's why I can fill up at a gas station in like the worst part of Detroit and not really worry about it because I'm a pain in the ass and criminals are cowards.
Mm-hmm. And then Rich has the other intimidation. Rich may not be the tallest guy in the world, but you want to get in a scrap with Rich? I don't.
I would. That'd be fun. Like just a fun scrapping or a real scrapping?
No, I mean a real scrap.
No,
He's
fuck
a big
that.
dude.
No, fuck that, dude. No. Nope.
Oh, I know.
No, man. All right. Let me hold on 1 second. From a gun owner, and somebody who believes in the Second Amendment for a lot of reasons. My heart really does go out for these people who've been shot on the air,
right?
And anybody who gets shot. I don't mean to I'm not trying to sound crass in the way of my beliefs because everybody's allowed to have their beliefs. It's just this. It's always going to be here. It doesn't matter. Like making laws does not protect anybody at all. It's an attempt, but no, I wouldn't want to see the freaking lawlessness that this country would go into if guns were made illegal. I don't want to see that. That's war. Like seriously, that would be a war, and that's not cool.
Yeah, and if you don't want a gun culture in your country, it's kind of something you got to build from the ground up, like in Canada.
Little fucking late. Yeah, a little bit fucking late.
Right. It's like trying to tell your 8-year-old that he can't have any more guns. Hey, I don't like the way you're pointing those at. I'm not going to buy you any more guns.
Yeah, no, it's not.
They're just going to make one out of Legos anyway. So.
Right.
And you don't even need Legos. You got a thumb. You got a forefinger. now.
Right. Oh, no, you can't do that anymore, man. You get in trouble at school for that shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My son did that the other day, and my wife jumped down his throat. Because, like, my sons don't see my guns.
Yeah.
You know, they're not old enough. My oldest son's 6 years old.
Right.
Or 7 years old. Not yet, man. I'm not.
No, of course.
My daughter, who's 9, yeah, she saw my gun when she was 8, and I had it all torn apart on the table in pieces, and I let her watch me put it together, and let her ask me any questions she wanted to, and I explained to her, you know, this is very dangerous. If you see anybody with one of these, get out of there, get away, and go tell somebody soon. Call 911. You know, if you see a kid with them, and I told her, I'm like, if you see it on a guy's hip, he might be a police officer, so don't get all freaked out about that.
See, now I get freaked out around them, and it's just, and I'll tell you, it is absolutely because of my ignorance of them. I've never held one. I've never fired one. Closest I've ever had to one is a BB gun.
Would you be interested
I've had
in
friends
doing that?
They brought out their rifles at their house, you know, and because I got a bunch of other friends that, you know, they're hunters and stuff like that, and they're, you know, I'm on the other side of the fucking room. They're like, why are you over there? Like, because man, I don't. But I'll tell you, it's fear based on ignorance, straight up.
Well, at least you're willing to. Yeah, but at least you're willing to recognize that. You know, I get it, man. It's a powerful fucking thing to have in your hand. Like it's not a safe thing. Like it's never fucking safe. You always treat a gun like it's loaded. Always. That's rule number fucking 1. You pick up a gun, I don't care if the slide slid back or any of that shit, you pick it up like it's loaded. Never get complacent about that. That's rule number 1. So I understand it. I mean, your fear is, you know, understandable. Never done it. It wasn't in your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's been in my life. My whole life, you know, I've been around guns. My parents, my mother is actually very anti-weapon at all. When I never had a gun in my house when I was a kid, but when I would go out to my uncle's house all the freaking time in Armada, I was shooting like crazy. So, but at my house, my bow and arrow had to stay out in the garage.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bow and arrow, you know? It's a compound bow. It's hunting and, you know.
Right. Yeah, I had plenty of handling of guns as a kid.
They're fun.
But I also, you know, kind of proved that I was responsible enough to, you know, handle a bow and arrow without lodging one in somebody's abdomen.
Right.
And see, I'm the child of 2 city kids. So, I mean, with the obvious gun implications aside, I mean, they weren't around. You know, Dad was never taken hunting when he was a kid. My mom was never taken hunting, you know. So, I mean, it just wasn't, it wasn't around. It's not in our house.
Right. I get it. Right. I understand. But you have to admit, like, just because you're afraid of something, do you think it should be against the law?
I'm not so much afraid
don't just think of guns. I'm just saying.
As I am just perhaps society at this point.
Right.
Because we're now in a very, just look at social media. We now live in a very reactionary society. We now live in a shoot first, bad metaphor here, but we now live in a shoot first, ask questions later kind of society.
I don't agree. I think it's just shoved in our face more than ever. That's really what I believe.
Yeah.
It's just shoved right in our fucking face.
Subject
every
that
second.
We had brought up a couple weeks back, talking about, I'm not convinced that the internet is showing us something different, is showing something new of human behavior. It's just
amplifying.
It's just shining a little bit of light into the dark corners that we were able to ignore in the past.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think those corners were left dark for a reason.
Yeah, they were, because those people's opinions don't really matter. And it's insane how, like, you can get 2 or 3 nobodies spouting off an opinion, and all of a sudden people think it's like some sort of movement.
Put it to a vote. Put it to a fucking vote.
Yeah.
Put it to a vote, man. National vote. Guns legal or illegal. Boom. Make it that fucking clear. And then you got to have, like, if you voted for illegal, you have to approve X amount of taxes to go towards the war on wars. Guns.
The war on wars.
Yeah.
War on wars.
War on evil.
It's pretty meta.
Yeah. I don't know. There's no fix. Government oversight is not going to fix it. There's no way.
Well,
the only other thing I could think of, Jay, is we've talked about it before. Give them to everybody. You have to have one. Make it a requirement.
You got to go through gun training.
Have to.
You got to go through gun training.
You know, maybe that guy would have had second thoughts about it if he knew that there were like 20 fucking people in that water park that were going to fucking unload on him.
Right. I mean, you know, maybe not, because the guy committed suicide anyway, so I don't know if that would... First of all, he wasn't a rational thinker.
No.
Thanks for shitting on my point here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem.
But Jay said it, you know, maybe that's the way to go. The armed society is the polite society.
Yeah, but if you don't want to own a gun, you shouldn't have to own a gun. That's the thing. Like,
Well, okay. In the subject of government overreach, which I am already showing my hand and my opinion about this story, but the city council in Denver, because I know you've heard this story, about their not so much denying, but just dragging their heels on approving a Chick-fil-A restaurant in the Denver airport.
Yeah.
And
this is a bullshit story here.
Right. So Chick-fil-A, they want to open up a restaurant in the Denver airport. This, I guess, has to be approved by the city council, and they're very hesitant to do so. Now, their stated concern is that they're worried about discrimination in hiring practices happening at this restaurant because of the owner of Chick-fil-A being, or maybe he's a president, I don't know if he's an owner, he is very vocal about, I don't know if he's been necessarily anti-gay in general, he's just anti-gay marriage. He's anti-gay rights. I haven't heard him say anything hateful about gays. He's just like, they have no business getting married, which I just still don't agree with. But anyway, it's splitting hairs, I guess.
Dude, they dropped fucking Jim Henson's shit because they had gay undertones.
Who did?
Chick-fil-A.
Oh.
Yeah, but at the same time, what they're concerned about with the hiring practices is totally you cannot ask somebody their sexual orientation in a job,
or their religious,
right?
That's the other thing.
Or religion.
But they have the right to do that with the Freedom of Religion Act.
Can you restrict licensing to businesses as a government? Can you do that?
No.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Because you think that they're going to be having unfair hiring practices.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay, but my question is to them, what's the foundation for this? Have they had incidences of this in the past? Just because the not sticking up for the owner here, but just because he has those views doesn't mean, just look at have they been taken to court at all at any time because of anything like this? If the answer is no, then you can't do that.
Hey man,
you have nothing to base it on other than you don't believe your beliefs don't line up with this guy's.
That's because he doesn't hire and he fires people for beliefs not lining up with his. So I have no fucking problem with that.
Has this been proven?
Yeah, that's been proven.
Yeah.
Yes, because them and Hobby Lobby, they were big into the fucking Freedom of Religion Act, like huge, dude. They threw tons of money at that, and that's so that they could discriminate against gay people. They could say that they don't line up with our religious beliefs, so we don't have to hire them. They have the right to say that. So if a city council who represents a city decides that they were going to side with gay people or whatever, then if that's their heavy voting, why not?
Well, it's
they
not
have
so
the
much
right to say that.
siding with gay people, but trying to
it's
prevent discrimination against gays,
or even your business model doesn't match what doesn't meet our criteria. So that's all.
Dude, it's a fast food thing in the airport. It matches.
I think, especially in a day where information travels so freely, the market usually takes care of these things by itself.
Yes.
Like, for example, we're never going to hear from Jared from Subway ever again.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He is not a marketable presence anymore, and to just about everybody, because that's kind of a universal thing. You don't fuck kids. Now, we would hope that discrimination against somebody because of their whether they're homosexual or not it would be a universal thing, but it's not. There are a lot of people out there who are discriminatory against gays and minorities and whatnot.
Do they have the right to be?
Yeah, they do.
Right.
They absolutely do, and they have the right to go to businesses that support their same beliefs. And
they have the right to not go to businesses that don't support their beliefs.
And they also have the right not to fucking care, not to give a shit what the beliefs of the people serving them their delicious chicken are.
Right.
Because this is not, we're not having a heart-to-heart here. I'm buying my sandwich and I'm sitting down and eating.
Right, but doesn't the city council have the right to reject that?
Well, that's what I guess that is the question that I don't really know the answer to. I guess they certainly seem to have the power to do so.
Well, yeah.
Whether it's legal, I'm unclear about, and whether it's something that they should be responsible for, I am unclear on my feelings about that.
Well, I'd also like to know more truth about the fact of maybe, and I'm going with conspiracy here. Like, is this Chick-fil-A just trumping up this shit, saying this, or is it because, like, let's say there's a zoning ordinance against, or because the zoning ordinance being like, okay, you already have a Chick-fil-A X amount of feet from the airport. You can't have another one within X amount of feet.
You're saying like, because it's just normal red tape and they're kind of calling foul in order to speed the process.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
It's interesting.
Just a different perspective to look at it. I mean, because, Chick-fil-A's in the news, they stay in the news, and anything they do, they make news.
But that was a quote.
And we're talking about Chick-fil-A.
Right. They're concerned. One of the city council members is quoted as saying that their concerns are about their discriminatory practices. So I think,
trying to find a story on this that isn't from a partisan.
Yeah, good luck.
No. Because I'm either finding ones from either super left things or super right things.
We'll read both of them and then just go right down the middle. That's where you're at. Just make your own conclusion.
Well, we can actually move on anyway because we're ready to wrap this one up, I think.
Good. I got to go to the bathroom.
You got anything else to say about it, or are you ready to take a break?
I just want to find out the info. All right, this is a...
You're looking for past history of
Chick-fil-A?
I'm just looking to find out just more specifics. All right, let's see. The council's business development committee voted to delay consideration of a 7-year deal between the airport and a new Chick-fil-A franchisee. Hesitant to approve a company that has used corporate profits to fund and fuel discrimination.
Right. It's just the fact that the government's involved in this that makes it a gray area for me. I mean,
permit process.
But shouldn't that just be I'd say a non-discriminatory practice, but what I mean is like they really shouldn't be looking into, it doesn't have anything to do with whether a business is going to think it's going to be successful or not, or be problematic or not. I mean, sure, if it's a fire hazard, I could understand that, but if it's simply like...
Well, with all the controversy they've stemmed up, who knows? Like, a bunch of gay people go in there and freaking protest and picket inside the airport. That's not good for airport business.
Yeah, and that would be city-owned property, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, here's one last quote on it, which I think kind of sums it up here.
If you're going to be radical in your thinking and vocal about it, then you're going to have a problem getting government contracts.
Absolutely.
And you should do business privately with other people who share your beliefs if you're going to present them so openly. Mm-hmm.
You got the right to do that.
Hey, there's plenty of places outside of airports that people like to eat.
Yep.
And there's plenty of people out there that don't give a shit and will eat the fuck out of your chicken.
Yep, I have.
I have not.
I feel dirty doing it. It's fucking good shit, man. With the pickles, real good.
I like Chicken Shack. Sorry, Chris, what were you saying?
Never mind. Because it's either coming from all left side or all right side. There's nothing. There's no like AP article about it.
Mm-mm.
Right.
It's either from like super liberal blogs or like super conservative blogs, and both of them are spewing lunacy. So I'm not even just gonna say what most of them are saying.
Yep.
So on that note, you know what? I'm with you. Let the free market bear it out.
Yeah.
Why deny people jobs because your political beliefs don't jive with that? It's
right.
You know?
I wonder if we would be so quick to if anybody would be so quick to come to the defense of an individual came across an instance like this. Let's say somebody wants to have a government job anywhere, and this is a person who has been spouting some sort of hypocrisy or
racist and a bigot.
Right, yeah. Let's say he's a racist and a bigot and is totally open about it online, and he wants to work for the government, and they look at his Facebook page and go, no, thank you.
Good.
Is that discrimination?
No.
I mean, it's discrimination in so much as you're allowed to be discriminatory in your hiring practices, and in any successful business is.
Right.
It's part of the elimination process. But is it discrimination against somebody because of their beliefs? No, it's discrimination against somebody because of their actions.
Right.
Them expressing their beliefs openly and knowing that people are going to automatically tie the beliefs of the individual to the business that they work for. If even just because it's the nut shot. Yeah. It's the easiest way you get to take a person down with one punch. Go, oh, hey, do you know that this person that works for you? Just thought you should know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him with a hood attending a rally. The type of people you hire. Anyway, I thought we were wrapping it up, and then I went off on another tangent. Let's put a cap on this one. Number 1, 2, 3.
Whoop whoop. I didn't snore this time.
We managed to keep Jay engaged and stimulated through the whole conversation.
Yes. Well, then we will wrap it up. Thank you for listening. Thanks for all the new followers on Twitter. Thanks for all the new downloads, the likes and the shares on Facebook. Click through that Amazon banner so Jay can quit his job.
Yeah.
Join us every week.
A lot of clicks.
Yeah, a lot of clicks. Buy a house on Amazon, all right?
Do it. A big one.
We're probably not too far away from that.
Buying houses on Amazon?
Yeah.
You can do it on eBay.
There you go.
They just got to get a drone big enough to haul it around.
Thank God.
A series of drones.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on Monday.
See you next week.
Later.
If you enjoy this show and want more people to know about it, head on over to iTunes, leave a comment, and rate it 5 stars. Make sure you like and share us on Facebook, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Just search for Christopher Media. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Most importantly, we would like to take the time to extend an extra special thanks to you. Christopher Media could not exist without your support. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task.